What's up, everybody? Joey the Truth Wagner with you here, friends. Welcome into the Truth Serum. And it is one of the most interesting times of the year, draft time. Everybody, there's been so much news in the NFL going on. That's why I have waited until now to do this. And that is my 2023 Pittsburgh Steelers mock draft. And everybody, this will be an abbreviated mock draft for the Steelers. This will be rounds 1, 2, and 3. I don't see there being any reason to go beyond the third round because, let's be honest about it, you don't know the players and we don't either. So we're just guessing at straws. So we're only going to do the first 3 rounds, and we will tell you who we would go with in those selections. Everybody, just to let you know, we are using the Pro Football Focus NFL Mock Draft Simulator. So these picks will be based on who is available on the big board on PFF. And as always, for this special video, Victor Valdez is here with me. Long time no hear, Victor. How are you?
Hey, it's been great, man. I'm looking forward to running this with you, and let's get accurate like we were accurate last year.
Yes, especially on those quarterbacks.
Yep.
Oh,
I'm ready when you are.
Well, now it is time, everybody. I'm going to click on Start Draft here. And I'll just go through some of the picks here to see here.
Do you want to go first?
Yes, I will go first here. I'm making sure there's a pause button here. But this is a very interesting one here. Wow. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to quickly go through, Victor, so you know who's there and not. These are some of the main picks that were taken via PFF. Bryce Young went first. No surprise. This is a shocker at 2. Anthony Richardson, 2 to Houston.
They don't like Stroud. That's a fact.
Jalen Carter's off the board. He went to Arizona. Will Levis went to the Colts. Will Anderson went to Detroit. Devon Witherspoon went to the Raiders at 7. CJ Stroud went 8 to Atlanta. Christian Gonzalez went 9. Jackson Smith and Jigba went 10 to the Eagles. The guard Soronsky went to Tennessee. Quentin Johnson went 12 to Houston again. The Jets went with the D lineman out of Pitt. New England went with the pass rusher Lucas Van Nigh. Green Bay went with Dalton Kincaid, the tight end out of Utah. Did not go with Michael Mayer out of Notre Dame. Surprise there. And Brian Brees, the defensive lineman, went to Washington at 16. These are the main players on the board at 17. You got Deion Banks, the Maryland corner. You got Joey Porter Jr. there. You got Brian Branch, the Alabama safety. You got Paris Johnson and Darnell Wright on the board.
Wow.
You got Nolan Smith. You got Broderick Jones is still on the board too.
Let's see what you do.
So you got the top 3 tackles. Addison is still there. And you got 2 corners. And everybody, this mock draft is going to be on who I would take in this scenario. This is who I would take in this scenario. This is not what I think the Steelers will do. This is what I would do. Because everybody, I'm not sure how many of you know of Mr. DK, Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, one of the best Pittsburgh sports writers in this city. Every Friday, he has a column that's called the Friday Insider, where he will release some insider tidbits of things he finds out in these organizations. And in his article that came out on the Friday, April 21st, he said that the Steelers are not looking offensive tackle really in the first round. They have a lot of trust in Dan Moore, and it's probably going to be corner. But that's not, I'm not going to do that here, Victor. The best tackle is on the board here at 17. And with the 17th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Paris Johnson Jr., tackle, Ohio State.
Okay, I like it.
And I think that is one you run to the podium to. You have the best tackle in this draft to protect your franchise quarterback for the next 10 to 12 years.
I agree.
Who are you going with?
So my board fell a little differently. Young went first, Levis went 2, Anderson at 3, Stroud went to Indy, Carter went to Seattle, Witherspoon went to Detroit, Kalijah Cansey went to the Jets, Gonzalez fell all the way to 14. I have available Brian Branch out of Alabama. I have Peter Skoronski, who a lot of people view as a better tackle than Paris Johnson. I have Paris Johnson on the board. I have Darnell Wright. I have Nolan Smith, the edge. And I have Jordan Addison. Now, if we did not go for Allen Robinson, I personally would have went Jordan Addison here. That's just my take. I think you bring back that KPA to, Addison connection. I think there's something there. However, considering how the roster is constructed at receiver, I don't think you go that route. The fact that there's this many tackles on the board right now, I kind of like the depth here. So I'm going to go Peter Skoronski. The fact that Skoronski's on the board, I like Skoronski. I just like the idea of a Northwestern guy coming in as tackle, and I think it makes all the sense in the world. But I'm going to go Peter Skoronski.
Okay, and you know how Pittsburgh is with that Ohio State connection, Paris Johnson Jr. And again, everybody, this is what we would do. From everything I'm hearing out of Steelers headquarters, I think they go corner.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the right move here with all these tackles on the board. How I build an NFL franchise: number 1, get my quarterback. Got it in Kenny Pickett. Number 2, protect him. Number 3, get guys to go after the other guy's quarterback. So that's how I build my team. The Steelers inside are a lot higher on Dan Moore than we are personally. And that's why I'm going with Paris Johnson Jr. and you're going with Peter Skoronski.
Yep.
So that is who we are going with, everybody. Next up, and Victor, this, to me, I think is one of the most important picks in this draft.
They have the whole night to think about it.
Yeah, I think pick 32 is up next, first pick of the second round. I feel that this is one of the most, I say the most important pick in the entire draft. Because they're going to have a whole Thursday night and Friday to think about what they're going to do at 32. And they're going to have a whole layout of the board of who's available. I think it is the pick that makes or breaks this draft for the Steelers. I really do.
That's a big take.
But here's a look at some of the guys who went after 17 on PFF. Interesting enough, Joey Porter Jr. went the pick after 18 to Detroit. Darnell Wright went 19 to Tampa. Brian Branch went to Seattle at 20. Deontay Banks, the corner out of Maryland, went 21. Michael Mayer, the tight end, went 26 to Dallas. Jordan Addison went 28 to Cincinnati.
Name on mine.
And the D lineman, Mazzie Smith, went to Buffalo at 27. So looking here at 32, these are some of the guys that are still on the board here. And this is where it gets very interesting. This is where it gets very interesting here.
Okay.
Because these are some of the players still on the board. Broderick Jones, the Georgia tackle, is still there.
He's still out there. Wow.
Zay Flowers, the Boston College receiver, is still there.
I like him.
The cornerback out of Mississippi State, Emmanuel Forbes, is still there. I don't know a ton about him. You have the guard from Florida still there, but we don't need guard. You have Cam Smith, the corner from South Carolina.
What's the tight end room looking like?
The top two, let me get the position here. But what I can say is that the top two are off. Oh my gosh, he's there. He's there! He's there! I'm running to the podium for this one. Running to the podium with this one. Thank you, Victor. I was going through and I kept going down and there weren't any tight ends. I had to keep going down until I saw the list of tight ends. And I looked. And he is there. He is there. He fits perfectly for what the Steelers want to do. And I could go on and on about this guy for the next 10 minutes. But you'd have no idea who it is, so I gotta tell you first, right? Well, yeah. Victor knows, but you guys don't know. With the 32nd pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers hit a home run and select Darnell Washington, tight end, Georgia. I'm telling you, folks, this pick is A+. With what the Steelers want to do offensively, A+. The Steelers want to turn into a power run team. They want to turn into a power run team. That's why they got Allen Robinson from the Rams. He's a wide receiver who can run block. George Pickens, great run blocker. Darnell Washington, great run blocker. Plus, he can catch like a wide receiver. 6'6", runs a mid 4.6, a matchup nightmare. A matchup nightmare, giving Kenny Pickett all the help he needs. And you could run two tight end sets with Pat Freiermuth and Darnell Washington, and they'd be unstoppable like Gronk and Aaron Hernandez was for New England a decade ago. I think it is a no-brainer and one of the steals of the draft. Darnell Washington, tight end, Georgia.
Joey went on his rampage, and I can't not disagree with him. However, my board fell a little differently. Philadelphia took Darnell Washington at 30. However, even if he was there, I'm going to draft for what I think is the need. I took a tackle. I think we got our left tackle set. Let's look at the defensive side of the ball now. I think we're pretty stacked everywhere, but I think we desperately need a slot corner. Who is the most playmaking, ball-hawking corner in this draft in the slot? Emmanuel Forbes out of Mississippi State. I'm going to take Emmanuel Forbes. I think for 32, he's going to come in, be your day one splash guy in that slot. He can blitz. He, at one point, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody that knows, was actually a leader in the nation with interceptions. He's an absolute playmaker at corner. Now, he's more of a slot, but that's who I'm going to go with, especially also because Washington is off the board in mine. But that's where I go, Emmanuel Forbes.
Darnell Washington. Can I ask you this?
Yeah.
On your mock draft, I'm guessing Addison got picked by someone, yes?
Addison went to Cincy. Yeah, just like yours.
Okay. Yep. Okay, next up for the Steelers, second pick of the second round, pick number 49. And everybody, I think, Victor, you'd agree with me on this. I don't want the Steelers trading up in the first round of this draft because I feel there are needs on this roster that need to be filled.
There's too much value to have 17 and 32, 49 and 80. 17 and 32, you have two first-round picks. Let's call it what it is. Those are two first-rounders. Mm-hmm. Regardless of how that's not how the draft falls this year. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
There's just too much value there, but yes.
I would not give up 32 for anything. I think it is the pick that makes or breaks this draft, because you have all night to break it down and everything.
Yep, you're right.
Let's move on to pick 49. A look here on my mock. Here are some of the guys who went after. Zay Flowers went pick 34 to Arizona. Emmanuel.
That's the guy that I would really like if we didn't get an Allen Robinson as well. Him or Jordan Addison are my two guys I would have took if they were there at 32.
Emmanuel Forbes ended up going pick 35 to the Colts. Broderick Jones went 36 to the Rams. That's interesting. This mock draft has Green Bay at the 45th pick, taking Tanner McKee, a quarterback from Stanford. Interesting.
Weird.
Okay. Very weird. But we're at pick 49 here, and we've given Kenny all the help and all the support he needs on the offensive side of the ball. He has his left tackle for the next decade. He has his matchup nightmare in Darnell Washington. The O-line, other than that, is good. Has two good backs with Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. Has solid wide receivers with Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, and Allen Robinson, and Calvin Austin. He has all the help he needs on that side of the ball, and it's time to go on defense. And I would personally, if 17 and 32 are the picks that I have, I would go pretty much defense the rest of the draft, because I think Kenny has all the support he needs.
I agree.
Now this is it. Now this is where it gets very interesting with the defensive side of the ball. Steelers do need a slot corner.
Yep.
And I know they got a bajillion linebackers in free agency, but they seem to all fit the same mold. They're all great run stuffers and not great in pass coverage. This is 2023. This isn't 1974. Don't let the Steelers fool you with their roster construction. They're building the team like it's 1974, but it's not. It's 2023. And in this day of the NFL, you need a linebacker who can go sideline to sideline and be good in pass coverage. And there is someone there for the taking. With the 49th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Jack Campbell, linebacker, Iowa. He is that linebacker you can build around, who is great against the pass and the run. He's that do-it-all linebacker that hopefully will fill the shoes of Ryan Shazier and that Devin Bush was supposed to fill. Jack Campbell, Iowa linebacker.
I love that pick, Joey. I agree with you that I think that if they will want to go inside linebacker, I'm not going to be against it. Especially, I'm liking your mock, Joey. You get Paris Johnson, you got Darnell Washington, and now you got Jack Campbell. I really like Jack Campbell.
I can draft, baby.
Yeah. Let's see what came off the board with me. Drew Sanders, a linebacker's off the board. A big name, Bijan Robinson, went to Seattle. So far, I've taken Peter Skoronski and I've taken Emmanuel Forbes. I'm going to still draft what I think will have more value here to the team. I can agree with you that you don't have an off-the-ball linebacker, but I think with Keanu Neal and DeMonte Casey, the team wants to run more of a dive 3 safety set. I think that's something they were leaning to even early last season if DeMonte Casey never got hurt in training camp. So, with that being said, I would like to go D-line here. And the guy I would go with personally is Ika I'm gonna screw his name up. Saika Ika, big defensive tackle out of Baylor, really well known past the Troy Polamalu here. I think you need to start addressing that defensive line. You need to get younger. I like DeMarvin Leal, but I'm not sure of DeMarvin Leal. I think he needs to have a little more competition. You signed some guys that were depth in there, but you got to put a fresh body out there. You got to put a guy that can eventually mold in and be a starter. I think at 49, you find really good value with Saika Ika, defensive tackle out of Baylor.
Yeah, there's a lot of good value in this draft.
Yeah, no,
there's a lot of good value in this draft. And I'll say this, everybody, is the Steelers' next pick will be number 80. But I will say this: pick 80 in the third round, and I know Victor can confirm this because we talk for hours about this stuff. Everybody, even when we're not live, we talk about this stuff for hours and hours. And when I'm looking at the draft, everybody, there's not many. There aren't many players where I'm like pounding the table for. Darnell Washington was that guy in this draft.
Yep.
And, Victor, do you want to tell our viewers, how long it took me to see what was in Justin Herbert?
One play. On a Thursday night, right?
It was either a Thursday or a Saturday. It was one of those late night Pac-12 games. That was like at 11 o'clock at night. And I saw a play. And he rolled out to his right. And threw a perfect, accurate strike. One play. And I'm like, who is that?
Yep.
Because I looked. And he moved out. And I'm like, oh, he's mobile. He's big. I'm like, perfect. I'm like, who is that?
You're absolutely correct.
And I bet Miami's still saying the same thing. They won't say it publicly, though.
Yeah. I know.
But best wishes to Tua, though. We wish him an amazing NFL career, but let's be real here. Miami would rather have Herbert. But anyway, let's get to the 80th pick, our final pick in this mock draft. Because like I said, everybody, we are only doing the first 3 rounds. Oh my gosh. If they didn't get Allen Robinson. This is interesting. If they didn't get Allen Robinson, wow. Because Jalen Hyatt is still on this board at pick 80.
Wow. And he's an absolute speedster.
Just some interesting picks here from 49 to 80 for some different guys that went. The Baylor D lineman was around until pick 63.
Okay.
The center, John Michael Schmitz out of Minnesota, went to Arizona, pick 66. Ringo wasn't picked until the 68th pick with Denver.
Wow, he fell. What about Nick Herbig? Is he still on your board, or did he fall?
He is not. He went. I just saw it. He went pick 59 to Buffalo.
Okay.
Yeah, but looking here at some of the players on the board, there's wide receiver Jalen Hyatt. Hendon Hooker's still on the board. You have a corner.
Are you going to go best player available here, Joey?
I'm not sure. You got a cornerback, Clark Phillips, out of Utah. I don't know much about him. Let me look at some of the... Let me look at who's available on the D-line. Because I'd like to go D-line or... I'd like to go D-line or, corner here, if able. But it looks like all of these guys are ranked about 90th and under.
Yeah.
So I think you could get one of these guys, especially on the D-line. You could get them I think at the 4th round pick 120.
Oh wow! So I don't. There's one thing I don't like. So I don't like you pushing cornerback that far. I think you need a slot guy. If not, you're gonna have to probably bring someone in. I like your draft. I don't like the idea of pushing that to 120. But if you think one of those guys are there? I guess I can't contest that.
Let me look here.
There's another corner out of Alabama, Eli something. Is he still on your board? Maybe.
No.
Okay.
I'd like to go corner here. I would, Victor. I'd like to go corner here.
Yeah.
But with the corners that are on the board, I don't know enough about them other than their ranking on this draft board. Some of the top 3 corners are Clark Phillips, cornerback out of Utah, Jalen Jones out of A&M, Corey Trice out of Purdue.
Clark Phillips is a name.
You do know of this name?
That's a name that I've heard been rumbled around.
Good, bad?
I couldn't really give you anything definitive. If I was you, Joey, I think where you're at is you got to go best value at that point.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
Go best value because I think that how the board just ended up for you. It's you know what I mean.
Yeah, I would have liked to go corner, but I don't know enough about
You're gonna force corner right there at 80. What's left for you?
What?
I think if you were to go corner right there at 80, you're probably just forcing just to get a corner.
Yeah, I would be. I would be. So instead, with the 80th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Jalen Hyatt, wide receiver, Tennessee. And this is why I'm going that way, everybody. First off, best player available on the board, 1. Number 2, no one can develop wide receivers like the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think they just hit another gold mine here in the 3rd round. Also, number 3, Victor. People probably don't think about this. I've heard rumblings on social media, but some of our Yinzer friends don't understand the cap.
Yeah.
Okay? They don't understand the salary cap.
I'm with you 1,000%.
They're like, why don't you trade Deontay Johnson now? And the reason why is this season his cap hit is about $16.3 million. If he is traded, his dead cap is $19.6 million. He would be worth, if you traded him this year, you would be losing an extra $3 million in cap space for doing so. The time to trade him isn't this year. It's next year when, if you did trade him, there would only be a dead cap of $5.8 million, and you would save $10 million on the cap. Yeah. That's why you get Jalen Hyatt now in the 3rd round. Because after the season, you could flip Deontay Johnson like you did Chase Claypool this year and get an extra 2nd round pick again in the draft.
Especially if Deontay goes off next year, guys, and he has a 90 catch, over 1,100 yard season, 6 tutties. With that reasoning, Joey, it makes sense because you're going to get some money off the cap and you're going to gain an asset, and you might as well add another receiver at that point. For that ideology, I like that a lot. And I think for 80, considering Hyatt to a lot of people could be a late 1st rounder, for him to be there at 80, I don't see how you could pass that up either. Because I don't think Deontay's getting another extension. So get rid of him while you can still get something out of him, right?
Mm-hmm. You can get a high 2nd round pick out of him.
Because I'm not giving him another contract and then have nothing for George Pickens, because I think George Pickens is going to develop to be a special guy. I like that. I like your take there.
Mm-hmm. But I just had to make it very clear because it's been I haven't made a video on it yet, but it's been driving me crazy when I'm looking on Twitter. And you have Yinzer fans and you have talk show radio hosts saying to trade Deontay Johnson. And I'm like, do you know what's going on? But yes, that is why Jalen Hyatt, wide receiver, Tennessee. My picks of Paris Johnson, Darnell Washington, Jack Campbell, and Jalen Hyatt. I love my first 4 picks in this draft. Love them.
It's a great draft.
And who are you going with at pick 80? Because I went on for about an hour on that. As everybody, we're just waiting here for Victor's selection at pick 80. As he is back.
How are you guys doing? I said cut off. I couldn't tell you why.
I was just about to ask after I went on for about an hour about Jalen Hyatt, who is your guy at pick 80?
So to just break it down a little bit, a couple of names that fell on my board. Campbell went at 53. Herbig, the guy, he's a well-known name. He went at 61 to Chicago. That's pretty much in for Jalen Hyatt, to go on about him, went at 79 to Indianapolis.
Oh.
So I think I probably would have liked that for how you broke it down. However, I think I've stuck to this draft a little more to what I think the team needs. And like I said, I went tackle, I went corner, I went line. Right here, I'm going to continue on the defensive side. As I see it, as we sit here today, we got T.J. Watt and we have Alex Highsmith, not Jameer Jones, but we have someone on. We have only 3 guys on the roster at edge. You got a guy that I don't know. Okay, that's not good. Malik Reed didn't cut him. You don't even have a Malik Reed on the roster. I know a lot of us had our fingers crossed that we can get that Bud Dupree reunion. Pittsburgh wanted to give him 2 years. He wanted 1 year to prove himself. Good luck with that. I got to go edge here. I think you got to get a third body in there. You got to get a guy that can be somewhat of value and project to be something at some point. You know, I know Pittsburgh loves their edge rushers. And I will say this, that if there's a veteran guy on that market that Pittsburgh thinks is going to be around after the draft, I definitely think they'll do it, like a Justin Houston, like someone of that, Leonard Floyd, you know what I mean, Joey? Which I don't think you'd be against for a third edge guy. But that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to go edge, and I am going to go, let's see. Let me go down. I want to fill that out. I'm going to go Byron Young, the edge rusher out of Tennessee. I've only heard nothing but good things about this guy, and that's just where I'm going to go with it. And that completes my mock draft for 17, 32, and 49 and 80. I went Peter Skoronski, who I think it's a debate either him or Paris Johnson is the best tackle in the class. At 32, I took Emmanuel Forbes, a big splash play slot guy. I took Saika Ika, a great D lineman to get in there, and I finished off with Byron Young, an edge rusher out of Tennessee.
There it is, everybody. There is Victor's draft. My draft, Paris Johnson, Darnell Washington, Jack Campbell, and Jalen Hyatt. As you can see, everybody, Victor's draft was a little bit more slightly geared toward team needs. With how mine fell, I just had the opportunity for a ton of value at picks that I just couldn't turn down with how the board was. You had better guys
on the board than I did. My board fell a little differently than yours.
Well, there it is, everybody. There is our mock draft. And now, for you, the biggest question, and I know you'll answer it in the comment section, so make sure to comment on this video, everybody. But the most important question: who did it best? Victor and I can't wait to find out. Welcome in. Thank you so much for watching our mock draft, Steelers Nation. We really appreciate it. Everybody, I'm not going to give too much away, I'm not going to give too much away here, but the draft coverage this year will be very, very special. I will leave it at that for now. For Victor Valdez and the rest of our great crew here in the Truth Serum, Joey the Truth Wagner signing off, saying God bless. Enjoy your night, Steelers Nation. Can't wait for draft night.